Hello, this is Kade and welcome to another stall citizenship concept video. Today, of course, we have the RSI Arrastra that has been just released in its concept state, and it fills up that missing gap in the mining fleet that we have in Stall Citizen. For this video, I'm going to do it a little bit different than the last one, so I'm going to go for a first quick introduction, like, is this a ship that you want to get? Then I want to look at it compared to its competitors and show you how it brings a little bit of a problem in the current mining lineup. And then finally, I want to take a look at the concept images that have been released and see if we can find any hidden details in there that they have not talked about to us yet, and that we can learn some interesting tidbits about. Before I go into the start of this video, a quick disclaimer that I'm making these videos in this moment of time, which has been a couple hours after the ship has been released, with the information that is currently available. Information may change. If there's new information out there, by all means share it down in the comments, but just make it clear, hey, this is some new information, people mind attention to it. If you have an interesting list of new information maintaining, I'll probably give it a pinned comment or something. But please stop making it look like I'm the idiot because I'm not sharing information that was not available when I'm making the video. It's a little bit annoying. So, for the short one, do you want to have the RSI Arrastra in your fleet? Well, are you going to be doing a lot of multi-crew mining? Do you have 5 or more people? If the answer to both questions is yes, then yes, you want the Arrastra in your fleet. It is a really good, really strong option for mining operation, and it will suit anyone from 5 people up to very large organizations in doing their job, making a lot of money by chewing on space rocks. Now, the reason I'm saying that wide range is if you're going with 5 people, it is this great expedition ship almost. Going out there, looking for the high value stuff, filling up your cargo, and then flying back to your base of operations, unloading it, selling it, and repeating the exercise. If you're looking at flying this thing in a larger mining fleet and operations, you're probably the one that gets assigned to go after specific minerals that are more like, hey, this is high value stuff, a bit out of the way. You go grab that, and then you fly back to the central core of the mining fleet, unload your cargo there, get fresh empty boxes loaded onto your ship, and repeat the exercise until the operation is over. Alternatively, it may also be the case that, hey, your larger organization is like, we want to mine into a more risky area. We're not going to be risking bringing our capital grade ships like the Orions in there. So we're just going to go with a whole bunch of Arrastras with a good fighter escort. And we're just going to be going after specific high value minerals, get those, and then get the hell back out again. So if you're mining 5 people and up, the Arrastra is a definitely high recommendation ship to get. It will suit your fleets, it will suit your needs, and it's going to line your pockets with a lot of space that's cold. A lot of space that's cold, really. If you want to have a bit of a reference on how much it could make, the Arrastra has 512 SCU of refined mineral external storage. 512 SCU of, say, Contanium with current patch 321 prices is 12.8 million. So that gives you a bit of an idea how much money could potentially be made with a full load of an Arrastra. So, with that said, let's take a look at its place then in the current lineup and also why that gives us a bit of a problem. Our lineup currently starts with the Prospector for your single person mining ship. Then you have the Mole, which of course is a 3-person multi-crew mining ship. And then probably in between around the Mole you also have the Expanse, which is your small refining ship. And also there's the RSI Galaxy with its refining module. Then you go into the RSI Arrastra, which is your full capability mining ship. And then finally you go into the RSI Orion, which is your full capability capital mining ship. Now the problem here sits with the Mole. The Mole being a multi-crew ship requiring 4 people to fully operate, plus you want to get a refining ship to this at this point because, hey, otherwise you're making a lot of trips and you're not doing it very efficiently. You're looking at investing a fair amount of credits or real life money into getting a mall and an expanse, but your capabilities are not even close to what the Arrastra looks like it's going to offer to you. So this makes the mall expanse, and especially RSI with its refining module, they don't really work right now. They need some changes there. And I think the main change that needs to happen is not to the refining ships. They're individually fine. They will do what they need to do. But I think the problem here rests with the mall. The mall as it stands needs to be adjusted. And the adjustments that it needs, I think, is going to make those external mining pods fully shielded and atmospheric, so that they're actually safe. Upgrading the mining lasers, so that it will go full on size 2 mining heads on there, instead of the current size 2 and 2 size 1s, I believe it is. So it has actually the capability of cracking bigger rocks much easier. And it will need an increase in cargo capacity. And probably going away from the bags and going maybe more into the like containers. But that depends like on how the... I think on the bags is actually how the refining ships also take the minerals. So probably just add more bags to it somehow. So that it can carry more all around the place, so that it can go back to its central place where there's going to be one refining ship. Because you're probably looking at a operation where most of the time you will have multiple mining ships to one refining ship. So you want the refining ships probably going to be centrally located, and then the mining ships can fly to the refining ship to unload and get fresh bags. So the mall is going to need a little bit of assistance in order to make the full mining lineup be worthwhile in acquiring. So with the lineup taken a look at, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the images that have been released for this concept sale and see if we can learn a few more things about this. Or actually, before we do that, we should probably go and take a look at the specs first, because then we can look at the details later. So if we take a quick rundown of the specs, it is a subcapital ship. It fits in the same category as the Carrack, the Hammerhead, and things like that. Which also means it is priced accordingly, so assume that it will go up in price to match those kinds of ships as well. So component-wise, we're looking primarily at size 3 components for all of your core stuff. So fuel intakes, fuel tanks, quantum drive, jump modules, shield generators, coolers, etc. All of these are size 3, with the exception of the computers, which are size 2, but it has 2 of them. Now for the core components, very importantly, it has 2 power plants, 2 shield generators, 2 coolers, and 2 fuel intakes. So we have that high capacity and also redundancy in all of those very core systems. For our fuel tank, looking at large fuel tanks, so good, we have that range as well, which we're going to need of course with a ship like this. Weapon-wise, we're looking at the remote turrets. 3 of them. Each of them has 3 size 3 weapons, so it's a fair amount of firepower. Not amazing, like these are no Hammerhead level turrets, but 3 size 3 weapons per turret, that is equal to a Scorpius turret. Like this is, or a Hurricane turret, stuff like that. So fighters definitely do not want to get shot at by these turrets for a long period of time. They're not going to have a great time of it. So it will probably keep you safe from most NPC threats and from less skilled players, but the really skilled player is probably going to be able to stay out of the arcs of fire of these turrets and still be a very dangerous threat to you, so that's something you want to keep in mind there. It also has a bunch of missiles, but I don't really think that they're much of relevance here unless they change in the targeting system that maybe turret operators could also designate target locks or whatever, because no fighters are going to stay in the front of this ship because it is a very large ship. It's going to be very slow to move, so that you can lock missiles and shoot missiles at them. So I'm going to ignore the missiles. I don't think they're going to matter all that much. Utility wise, of course, we have our 3 size 3 mining lasers on top of here, and we have a tractor beam in the rear as well for helping loading the internal cargo bay, which of course can also hold the vehicles. 2 rock-sized vehicles or 64 SCU worth of cargo can be stored there. So that's pretty much our specification list. Nothing too staggering or shocking. So if we're looking here then at our first concept image, we're seeing it here is clearly mining. This looks like a very, very large bit of an asteroid. I think this is clearly a shot made for looks of cool. I don't think this would be a scale of asteroid that the Arrastra would be targeting. But I could of course be wrong. These are size 3 mining lasers. This is a scale up from anything that we have seen this far. So we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen in that regard. Now the third placement, we can see those bearing on the side here, rear here. So the rear is decently covered, but the blind spots is going to be after rear, and of course in front is going to be also a blind spot. We can also see the first bit of the external cargo on top here. And these look like it is filling it with either 1 or 2 SCU boxes. This is our concierge special skin, so like most concierge skins make it black. I mean, it looks nice, not gonna lie, but sometimes you wish they would do a little bit things differently. There's some flappy things here with some stuff in there. I'm not entirely sure what these are. These could be like, maybe these are the missile bays that are like a vertical launch system, which would be cool. Because I don't really see any other missile locations here, and there are some things poking out of there. So it would be really cool if this was like a vertical launch missile system. And then it would also make sense maybe if the turret gunners could actually be locking missiles and then the pilot could just be firing them. That could be a very interesting way to deal with missile gameplay on larger ships. We can also see again the cargo storage here. So we can see the top row here of the external cargo. Our mining heads again over here. These are our thrusters up front, so these may be able to rotate by the looks of it. So they could be your VTOL engines. But then again, the VTOL system was going to go away last I heard, so we'll have to see what it's going to do. See, internal shot here. This looks like our refinery, most definitely. Lots of danger symbols. 3, 4 control stations. So I guess it's like total of 4 maybe refining spots. Who knows? Hard to say. Cross feeding here below on top. Some instruction posts there. 2 control stations, so this could actually mean that perhaps the central mining lasers pilot operated so that your engineer and co-pilot could be running back here to operate both of these refining stations. They say that the refining station is mostly doing its thing without intervention, but maybe if you do need some intervention, that you can have 2 crew in the back here doing that. And you only have 1 crew that's really roaming, because otherwise you have your pilot, co-pilot, and your 2 operators, and then your only one roaming would be your engineer. But if you have 2 stations here, then I would assume that it would be a reason for 2 people to be here as well. So maybe the co-pilot would not be operating the central mining laser, or maybe you can share it, so either the pilot or co-pilot operates it. And then you can, either co-pilot can be operating the mining laser, or they can be in the back helping out, doing things for the refinery. Here we see another angle from this concept image, I think from the one before. This is a bit more blurry. Yeah, not a whole much more to gain from here. I wonder about this though. You have like these things on top here, but there's also something below here. I think that maybe just a concept thing. Or maybe in here the laser is separate from the extractor, but then again, this is only 1 unit. Could be the case that the extraction is only up front then, and that this is only a laser that does the cracking. And then your extraction is just done by your 2 mining operators, so they go from cracking and then switching to their extractor heads. That could be the case here. RSI Mining Corp. No doubt they have their own vertical integration as well, which I strongly recommend doing as well. Well, like for our organization, ISTI, International Investment Group, we run a bunch of different organizations, primarily going around Skylar Industries for construction, so for your base building on planets and moons. But we're also doing our full vertical integration to mine your own resources, which it seems that RSI is doing here as well. So they're mining their own resources to fuel their own shipyards. And it's landed here. It looks like then it could be a docking collar here, extending into the ship. So that these ships could both land in hangars, on pads, or also dock to stations, which would be a nice addition as well. Beyond that, I don't think there's a whole lot more to gain here. Like, we still see these flappy things on top here, but I hope that these are missile based. It would be really cool. Also for the mining thing here, we only actually going down to just one. So we got one below here, nothing on top here. So I guess my other thought was not right, that the other one was just an artifact there. So here's only one. Now this is a very interesting one. So we have a rock DS here, or this is also rock DS. I don't know, I never use these things. So this is what they try to be like, hey, you can also land and do rock mining, which I don't really get the appeal of it, because you're probably going to be much better off chewing on space rocks than going onto a planet and trying to mine very small gem deposits. But maybe if you find something really interesting, the rocks are fairly cheap, so might as well just have a couple of them on board and deal with them. But what I think is most interesting is here when looking at the cargo space here. Now it's clear that this goes from, I guess, from top all the way down to the bottom. We need to do some calculations there, because these are 2 FCU containers. Then probably doing so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 by 10, 100, 200, 400. So maybe there's a bit more in here. Well, I think that's the case. So we're looking at cargo containers all the way top down to on the side here. And it also looks like these are like mechanical loading arms in here. And that I think would be really cool. No mention of this made at all during any of the presentations. Because it's clearly not part of the landing gear, because we can see the landing gear here and in the back here. So this is not landing gear. But if these are mechanical means of loading and unloading the SCU containers from the racks, that would be a really cool feature. It also makes sense maybe with the rocks that you can maybe load these into an SCU container as well, and then just put them in the rack. That could be a cool thing. And also for the, of course, when you're unloading in places without facilities, so the arms would lower the container down, and then say a mule could be picking it up and driving it away. I like it really a lot, actually, having some mechanical means of doing that stuff instead of just everything being tractor beams. I think this is could be a really cool feature. Now keep in mind, these are concept images, but then again, this thing is in like a white or gray box stage already, so that we could be seeing this. I really like this. I wish they had told us something about it. I think that's one of the most interesting things. So clearly our external cargo is just located in this area here, going from the top down to the bottom, and it's just stacked in these racks. Very, very interesting. A very cool little bit of a concept there. So it's partially exposed, but also some of it is shielded by some of the ship structure over here as well. So here we're back to the RSI Mining Corp. And again, we can see here one head on front here. So clearly it's just one head that does both the mining and the extraction. So then the central one should be able to do the same as well. Again, we see these bays over here. I still don't see any other missile locations, so I'm still going to assume that those are the missiles. Beyond that, not really a whole lot of extra stuff in here. Here we're flying over a station, cargo station. Thought they called this a mining corp station, but it doesn't look like a refining station to me. Well, yeah, not a whole lot more for us to see. Just the one here, we can see the cargo, the turrets. Yeah. Okay, here we are landed. Here we can, yeah, look, exactly as I said. These are mechanical arms unloading the cargo. So it goes from down there, and maybe it is a little bit of a ramping structure, so there could be more in here because, oh, look at these boxes. These are 2 SCU container boxes because they're longer. They're not a square box. You can see them here. So these are 2 SCU cargo containers all the way down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 maybe. So 12 by, is it 10-ish to 120? Yeah, it's probably here. Maybe it's not like full racks all the way down, but it could just shuffle them around in there. But we can clearly see that they're being brought down here by these grabbing arms. And then they can be picked up by the forklift down here. And then we can unload our cargo. Because like I fully assume that at some point, like right now, these things magically appear when you're loading stuff. But I think later on, of course, you're going to need empty containers to be loading your minerals into. So then you need to be putting, you're taking full containers out and you're putting empty containers back in. So yeah, that's going to be the cargo loading and unloading system for the RSI Arrastra. I really like the fact that it's fully mechanical. That's just really good. Again, we're having our base here. They really look like missile base. Can't make anything else of it. Would be really, really cool. These look like maneuvering thrusters, by the way, over here. Fairly central to the ship, actually. Here as well, there are a couple. Which could be lights, but not sure. And then for our last shot, we have the bridge. I really like these mining stations here. Like, they look great. It's just like this enclosed feeling in there. Like everything around it. Probably not any real need for it, but it looks really cool. And maybe we'll get like some proper display here at some point for the operation. Because right now you can clearly see this is still our classic basic MFDs that we have currently before any of the rework stuff. And these are, well, shite. Let's be honest. Front station, so pilot, co-pilot, classic RSI hanging from top. So these will probably go back, swing out, and these will just be a rotating chair probably. Shared control, yeah. Oh yeah, that's all of it, I think. So most interesting thing is that we could potentially see some vertically launched missiles, and we have mechanically operated external cargo for the loading and unloading of the ship, which I think is a really, really cool feature to have on the ship. That's all that we have then for the RSI Arrastra. I think it's a very cool looking ship. Hopefully it's not too far out, and considering that they're doing so much RSI work right now, I would not be surprised if it is not too far out, relatively speaking. We clearly see that they're already having it in, I think it was gray or white box. So yeah, they're working on the, what was it, Polaris. Then they were going to work on the Galaxy, and the Galaxy of course also brings with it that refining module. And then, of course, if you have the Galaxy with a refining module, you pretty much have everything that you would need, I think, to make the Arrastra. So yeah, very, very interesting little ship. Very capable, very good option for multi-crew mining. And it finalizes our mining fleets. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, I've been Kade. Goodbye.